All right, so to continue here, we're looking at the Mayan number system. And what the Mayans did, they have this very elaborate system, but they use a system that uses base 20. So they're using everything adds up to 20. So 20 is their big important number. So with the Mayans, everything's easy until you count up to 20. You just follow the method of these actual numbers themselves. As they count in lines. So they count up to 5, and then a bar represents 5. And they start counting up to 5 again, and then they throw another bar. And it's kind of like our tally system. Groups of 5, you put a line through it. It's kind of what they're doing here, but they use dots instead. But then as soon as you get to 19, then things get goofy. Then you got to make a space, and they start counting up. So let's take a look at how this plays out. So once I get to 15, you're fine, but then as soon as you get up here, this is another group of 20s. And so what this is saying is that you've got 8 groups of 20, very similar to what the Babylonians were doing. And then up here, another space means you're going up another level, where you've got 2 groups of 10, so this is 20, and then 4, 10, I said 20. 2 groups of 5, which is 10, plus 4 is 14. And so you've got 14 groups of 20, and then they multiply it by 18. Hang on to that 18. And so what we've got here is a 0. So in other words, they actually are giving themselves a 0 place. And so then up here we've got one group of another 20, and they times by 18 and then by 20 squared. So this progression, these are as big as the numbers are going to go, are how they count it. So very interestingly, it's base 20, it's groups of 20, but then the second one is always timesing by 18 in a weird progression. So the first group is just counting the actual number. The second group is counting and timesing by 20. The third group is counting by counting it up, and then whatever it adds to, you multiply by 20. And then rather than just multiplying by 20 squared, kind of like the Babylonians were doing, you're actually going to be doing 20 times 18. So these are the multipliers. I'll circle them as we go up. This is the progression of what you would be multiplying on your calculator. So you can see these marks give you this first number here are by the marks themselves. Okay, so this is the 8, this is the 14, whatever. This is the shell, which is 0, but it could be any other number that we'll see in a moment. And this is our 1. So these numbers are the ones that change, but this progression of how you multiply doesn't, so it might be something that you write down and take a picture of so that we can use it for later. And so this is what our homework looks like. You've got this shape over here where we've got the stacking way that they do their numbers. And so this one's going to be multiplied by 20. This would be multiplied by 20 times 18, I believe. So that's what that one. No. The first one you don't multiply. That's just what it is. The second one we multiply by 20. This is our 20 times 18, and then so on. So we're actually going to work this out here. And using our previous example, so I don't keep flipping back and forth, we actually should set this up. So we've got our number on bottom, and actually counting up what that is. Oops, trying to get my pen to work here. And so counting up, this is just 2 5s and 2 1s, so this is 12, and you just leave it as 12. So this is 0 times a group of 20, so that would be a 0 extra groups of 20. And then this is 15 plus 1 is 16 times 20 times 18. And then this is 1 5, and so that is 5 times our 20 times 18 times 20. So I just used this natural progression that we had from the previous problem, going up the ladder of how they count their numbers here. The only one that you can't see is below here. I guess I could scroll down a little bit. So I started with the base number here, and then multiplied by 20, and then 20 times 18. So exactly the same method up above. All right, so now we actually take out our calculator and actually multiply this out. So the way I would do it is I'd say I got 12 plus, I actually would take my calculator out and multiply what's 16 by 20 times 18, which I will do. So we've got 16 times 20 times 18, and I got 760. And then I multiply up top, I've got 5 times 20 times 18 times 20. And I get 3,600. And then you add these numbers together. So 3,600 plus our 5,760. And then add our 12. And I get 41,772 as the total Indo-Arabic numeral. Okay. So now we can take your homework's going to ask you to take a regular number in Indo-Arabic numeral and write it in the expanded form to show explicitly how each digit is multiplied by a power of 10. So it's kind of like taking how we've read numbers earlier and actually you're writing it out. So we've got here our 6,000s place. So this is just saying I've got 6,000s. But what you can do is you can write it as 10 to the third rather than writing 1,000. And here we've got 500s. So 10 squared is 100. And then we've got 8 tens. And then you've got 2 ones. Okay, so we're going to actually talk about exponents much later in this week's lessons. But 10 to the 0 is a 1. So what we're saying is you have 2 ones. And notice this is 10 to the 1, so progressively go from 0. And then this is 1. So 10 to the 1 is just a 10. So you have 8 tens. Here we've got 10 squared. 10 squared is 100. So you're saying you've got 5 hundreds. And here we've got 10 to the third, which is 1,000. And you're saying you've got 6 thousands. So you're going to be looking at it and writing it this way when it says writing it as a multiplied by a power of 10. So it starts with your ones, which is 10 to the 0, tens, which is 10 to the 1, hundreds, which is 10 squared, and then our thousands is 10 to the third, 10,000s is 10 to the fourth, and so on. So you're just counting how many zeros you have, tells you what number you're looking at as an exponent. So here we've got 2 zeros, exponent of 2. No zeros, so it's just a, 1 0 is 10. No zeros for the ones gives you the 1 there. Okay. So if I was to make up a number like 1,396, I would break it up this way. I'd say I've got 1 times 10 to the third, and I've got 3 times 10 to the second. I've got 9, 10 to the first, and I've got 6 times 10 to the 0. Okay, same exact pattern of what we just did: thousands, hundreds, tens, ones. Okay. So I hope that helps for your lesson. If you have any questions, please email me through the Ask My Instructor feature.